Today we are going to learn about the topic from hunting gathering to growing food. The earliest people known as hunter gatherers were on the move for several reasons. Firstly, staying in one place for an extended period would have depleted the available plant and animal resources. Hunter gatherers relied on the immediate environment for their sustenance, so they had to move to new areas to find food. Secondly, animals also moved in search of prey or grazing areas. Hunter gatherers who hunted these animals had to follow their movement to continue their food source. Thirdly, plants and trees bear fruits in different seasons. Hunter gatherers may have moved from one place to another depending on the season to gather different types of plants and fruits. Lastly, the availability of water was crucial for the survival of people, plants, and animals. Hunter gatherers had to seek out water sources such as lakes, streams, and rivers. So, in areas with seasonal water sources, they would have needed to move during dry seasons to access water. Archaeologists have uncovered evidence of the tools and materials used by hunter gatherers. Stone tools, in particular, have been well preserved and provide valuable insight into their activities. These tools were used for various purposes such as cutting meat and bone, scraping bark and hides, chopping fruits and roots, and making spears and arrows for hunting. Stone tools were also utilized for chopping wood, which served as firewood and construction material for huts and other tools. The choice of where to live for hunter gatherers were often influenced by proximity to water sources such as rivers and lakes. Archaeologist sites that are marked in the map, they indicate areas where evidence of hunter-gatherer settlements have been discovered. Natural caves and rock shelters like those found in Bhimbedka in present-day Madhya Pradesh shelter, making them attractive location for habitation. Access to good quality stone was also a factor in selecting a place to live for hunter-gatherers, as it was essential for creating their tools. They sought areas where high quality stone was readily available. The painting from the rock shelter shows wild animals and is drawn with great accuracy and skill. The detail of the animals are depicted in a lifelike manner, capturing their features and movement. The color used in the paintings may vary depending on the materials available to the early people, such as natural pigments from plants and minerals. So, rock paintings like these provide valuable insights into the lives of early humans. Regarding the use of fire, traces of ash were found in Kurnool caves, suggest that early humans were familiar with fire and utilized this for various purposes. Fire serves as source of light, helped in cooking and roasting food, and potentially acted as deterrent to scare away dangerous animals. So, in terms of the time period mentioned, the earliest period is called Neolithic, which spans from 2 million years ago to about 12,000 years ago. This era is characterized by the use of stone tools. The following period, from about 12,000 years ago to around 10,000 years ago, is also known as Mesolithic. During this time, microliths, small stone tools, were commonly used along older varieties. The period from about 10,000 years ago is referred to as Neolithic, which marked the transition to farming and herding. Overall, the changing environment, including the shift to warmer conditions and the development of grasslands, influenced the hunting pattern of early humans. This led to a deeper understanding of animals' habitats and eventually sparked the idea of herding and farming. The natural growth of grain breeding grasses in different parts of the subcontinent also contributed to the transition to the agriculture. Early humans learned to collect and cultivate these grains, which eventually led to the development of farming practices. The domestication of animals started with the dog and later including sheep, goats, cattle and pigs played a crucial role in the emergence of herding communities. During the process of domestication, people cultivate plants and take care of the animals. Through selective breeding, certain traits are favored, such as disease resistance in plants and docility in animals. This leads to the development of domesticated plants and animals that differ from their wild counterparts. For example, domesticated plants may have larger grains and stronger stalks. Seeds from selected plants are preserved and ensure that the desirable qualities are passed on to new generation of plants. Similarly, relatively gentle animals were chosen for breeding, gradually leading to domesticated animals that differ from their wild counterparts. For example, the teeth and horn of domesticated animals tend to be smaller than those of wild animals. Domestication was a gradual process that began around 12,000 years ago and occurred in various parts of the world. Today, virtually all the plants and animals we use as food are a result of domestication. Some of the earliest domesticated plants include wheat and barley, while sheep and goats were amongst the earliest domesticated animals. The shift to agriculture and animal husbandry brought about a new way of life. People have to settle in one place for a longer period to tend to their crops. They had to take care of the plants by watering, weeding, protecting them from the animals and birds until the grain ripened. Storing the harvested grain became essential, leading to the development of techniques such as clay pots, weaving baskets, or digging pits. So, rearing animals also became an important aspect of the new way of life. Animals provided food in the form of milk and meat, and they could be bred to ensure a continuous supply. Additionally, animals could be used for other purposes such as their skin for clothing, their bones for tools, and their labor for taking the tasks like transportation and farming. So, archaeologists study evidence from various sites to understand the lives of early farmers and herders. So, by examining plant remains such as burnt grains and animal bones, they can identify the crops that were grown and the animals that were reared in different regions of the subcontinent. This helps in reconstructing the practices and lifestyles of early farming and herding communities. At various archaeologist sites, traces of huts or houses have been discovered, providing insights into the transition toward a settled life. For example, at Burzum Home site in present-day Kashmir, pit houses were built by digging into the ground with steps leading into them. These structures may have offered shelter during cold weather. Cooking huts were found both inside and outside the huts, indicating that people could cook indoors or outdoors depending on the weather. So, the discovery of the stone tools from these sites revealed the emergence of Neolithic tools, which were very different from the early Paleolithic tools. So, Neolithic tools were often polished to create a fine cutting edge. Mortars and pestles used for grinding grain and other plant produce were also found. Interestingly, mortars and pestles were still used for grinding grain today, thousands of years later. However, Paleolithic tools continued to be used alongside Neolithic tools, and some tools were also made from bone. Earthen pots, including decorated ones, were another significant find. These pots were used for storing various items. People began using pots for cooking food, especially grains like rice, wheat, lentils, which became important component of their diet. Additionally, weaving of cloth became possible as materials like cotton could now be grown. So, the transition to agriculture and herding did not occur uniformly across all the regions or at the same time. In some areas, hunting and gathering continued alongside farming and herding, and for several thousand years it continued. Furthermore, in certain cases, people combined different activities, adapting their practices based on the seasons. One site that provides valuable information about the shift to settled life is Mehergarh, which is located near the Bolan Pass, an important route into Iran. Mehergarh is one of the earliest known villages where people cultivated barley and wheat and reared sheep and goat. Animal bones, including those of wild animals like deer and pig, as well as sheep and goat bones, have been found at this site. Remains of square or rectangular houses with multiple compartments, possibly used for storage, have been discovered in Mehergarh. So, burial sites have also been found as well, indicating that people practice burial rituals. So, in one instance, a person was buried alongside goats, which suggests that animals were intended as food for deceased in the afterlife. The houses of Mehergarh provide a glimpse into the architecture of the time. They resemble square or rectangular structures similar to the houses today. This highlights the continuity and universality of certain aspects of human dwelling places across time and geography. So, if we want to summarize this chapter, so this chapter explores the transition from a hunter gatherer lifestyle to a settled farming and herding. Hunter gatherers relied on hunting, gathering, and moving from place to place in search of resources. They used stone tools and sought shelters in natural caves and rock shelters. The shift towards settled life occurred throughout the domestication of plants as well as animals, leading to the development of agriculture. And this marked a significant change in human societies, paving the way for the growth of civilization. That was all about this topic.